What's good, everyone? UmbreonMoonlight here, and boy, oh boy, is Sony at it again. It wasn't bad enough that we're getting a remaster of Horizon Zero Dawn that wasn't really necessary. It's been also leaked out recently that Days Gone is getting a remaster, another PS4 game that doesn't necessarily need the remaster. On top of that, ladies and gentlemen, oh boy, it's been leaked from one of the developers of Concord that it cost Sony a whopping $400 million to develop the game that flopped harder than a fish out of water. Man, oh man, Sony just keeps taking L after L lately, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, I wanted to make this video to kind of discuss further of what I don't really like about remakes, because in my last video I don't think I was clear enough on exactly why I don't like remasters. Now, the reason why I don't think the Horizon Zero Dawn remaster is necessary is because, like one of the comments said in my last videos, we have franchises like Infamous 1 and 2, we have Killzone, we have entire libraries of like the PS1, the PS2, the PSVR, the PSP, the PS Vita, that they could be pulling games from and remastering, but instead, as they put in this comment, they keep shoveling mountains of cash into obvious garbage fires like Concord. And I feel like they're probably doing the safest thing possible, and Sony's actually doing something smart by re-releasing games like this because it's safe to recoup the development costs that Concord cost them. Because $4 million, if you don't know, is a lot of money. And while Spider-Man 2, while that game didn't flop, it didn't hit the sales Sony and its shareholders wanted, and that cost $2.5 million to develop. And for Spider-Man 2, as fun as that game is, I don't think $2.5 million was worth the effort, to be quite honest. And that's what I was trying to get, past in my last video. It's a simple fact that I think this is just a lazy, blatant cash grab to remake games that don't need to be remade. Now, yes, as one of the comments pointed out, we don't know what the Horizon Zero Dawn remaster is going to be bringing to the table. That is true. As far as we know, it's just going to look prettier. It could add other things. You were completely right on that. I am not going to deny that. But, well, this is Sony, so we know damn well that they're going to do the least amount of work possible, and they are going to shove this out as quickly as possible to make as much money as humanly possible. This comment also pointed out that we don't know if it's going to be $70. Ladies and gentlemen, I want someone to point out exactly what PS5 game costs less than $70, other than like Spider-Man Miles Morales that was a PS4 game too and a PS5 game. So I want someone to explain to me what a PS5 game, and only a PS5 game that costs less than $70, because I'll wait. Do you got the answer? That's great, because I can tell you right now, it's none. There's no PS5 game that is for the PS5 solely that isn't also a PS4 game that is not $70, because $70 is the standard for this generation of consoles. And while, yes, like I said, I feel like the remaster is going to flop, so the price should drop quickly. Yes, while that's true, if you have a PS5 Pro or a PS5 Slim and you don't have a disc drive, I hate to tell you, digital sales on Sony's, storefront, its online storefront, while they happen frequently, I don't think it's going to happen to Horizon Zero Dawn remaster for a while. You might be able to pick it up on sale, but digital games very rarely go on sale that aren't 5-10 years old. All that, they do happen every once in a while to end up with PS Plus. So there's no game that's just solely PS5 that is under $70. So I just wanted to clear that bit up. And as for not everyone's suffering from a the global recession. Yes, this is true. Not everyone's impacted as hard with inflation and the rise of cost of like groceries and, you know, gas and housing and rent and land taxes and all that stuff. This is true. But the majority of the population of the planet right now is struggling extremely hard. I've seen on Reddit people that make $100,000 plus a year. They spend very, very, you know, frugally. They don't spend a lot on luxury items. They live as modestly as possible, and they are struggling to pay bills because of everything costing so much. So while it does impact everyone, it impacts the majority, and especially for people that like video games, this is a heavy impact. Why would you buy a $70 game when you can buy a $30 game that looks just as good, that plays almost identical unless they change some things about the gameplay around, which we all know is not going to happen. So it doesn't matter if you're playing Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster for the PS5 or you're playing Horizon Zero Dawn for the PS4, you are getting the same experience. And that, at the end of the day, is what matters. That's why I have such a problem with remakes, because unless the remakes add something substantially, it's not worth it. Like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was one of the games I pointed out that wasn't a remaster of a previous game, and well, yeah, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a remastered of a game. It's a straight up remake. It's the continuation of Final Fantasy VII Remake. And Final Fantasy VII Remake is a remake of the original Final Fantasy VII for the PS1. And he listed a whole bunch of other games like Helldivers and Stellar Blade, which are not remakes, which yes, I will give you that. The PS5 isn't void of original PS5 titles. I never claimed that. I just said it's mostly full of remakes and remasters that we don't need. As another comment also pointed out, GTA 5 was remastered 3 times like The Last of Us Part 1. We didn't need a GTA 5 remaster for the PS5. It looks prettier and it loads faster. Ooh, and it runs at 60 FPS now. Ooh, big deal. It's not worth $70. A game that was released in 2013 is not worth $70. That's also a very, very good example. And for the commenter that pointed that out, thank you, because I completely looked over that last video. That is why I have problems with remakes, because a lot of remakes don't bring anything substantial to the market. If I can give Nintendo credit for anything, when they remake a game, they remake a game. Okay? Like Ocarina of Time 3D, Majora's Mask 3D, while it's not the changes that we all wanted with all of it, it was remade from the ground up. Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, Super Mario RPG was remade. They gave substantial, quality of life improvements to games that are really hard to play nowadays. That is something I like. Nintendo knows how to do remake correctly. Sony and Microsoft do not most of the time. That is why I have problems with remakes, because Nintendo will not remake a game usually unless it's warranted. And before anyone says anything, yes, I know a lot of Switch games were pulled it from the Wii U, but the Wii U was a massive failure, so it makes sense that they would want to remake and port over the Wii U games over to the Switch so it can sell more. That makes sense. I'm okay with stuff like that. What I am not okay with is a blatant cash grab like Days Gone is, like Horizon Zero Dawn is for the remaster, like The Last of Us Part 1 is, like GTA 5 was for the PS5. Those are prime examples of blatant cash grabs that don't bring anything to the table and doesn't help the consumer. It doesn't benefit the consumer if they keep re-releasing these games. It doesn't benefit the hardware that it's on. It's not going to benefit the sales of the PS5 Pro, because why would you buy a $700 console when you can buy and play these games on a cheaper console and save some money? And yes, not everyone's going to be looking to save money. Absolutely, you are absolutely correct on that. But the majority of people nowadays are looking to save a few dollars, especially if it's a last-gen experience just being remade. if you know anything about Sony and you're a Sony fanboy and you want to try out Horizon and you're new, you're new to the franchise, you're going to want to save money anyways, because if you end up not liking it, you've wasted $70. When you could waste $30, resell it, get most of your money back, if not all your money back, and call it a day. Where if you try to resell, if you even bought physically, Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster for $70, you're not going to do that because it's going to drop in value physically. And you can't sell digital games. So, and Sony's refund policy on digital games in the storefront is garbage. It's straight up fucking trash, and we all know it. I do not like what Sony's doing. I do not like that they spent $4 million on Concord. I do not like that they are trying to recoup that cost by re-releasing games that don't need it. We have games like Bloodborne. We have games like Red Dead Redemption 2, which they have limiters on them. They can only run at 30 FPS. They don't look bad, but they don't look as great as they could. Bloodborne has humongous bug problems. Bloodborne also has problems with its invincibility frames, iframes, where you can dodge and you could perfectly do, and you were supposed to get that invincibility frame. And because of the bugs, it doesn't register and you die. That could be considered, bad gameplay, and that could ruin the experience for a lot of people. So I'm sorry, but I'm not going to hop on this bandwagon of remakes. I don't think a lot of you should. If you want to buy the remakes, you should. You absolutely should, if that's the way you want to experience Horizon Zero Dawn for the first time with the best next-gen graphics you can. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but I'm saying that you shouldn't keep empowering Sony and feeding Sony this idea that this is what we want as consumers, because we should not want this as consumers. It's just like microtransactions in games. It's just like shark cards and all this stuff in Fortnite that you got to pay for. We should not have to be shelling out money for content like this constantly, because we are content starved on the PS5, and we should not have had to spend $500 on a console that doesn't have a lot of the next gen experience that it promised us. This has been UmbreonMoonlight. I hope you're all having a good day. I hope you're all playing amazing games out there. Tell me down below if you're going to pick up the Horizon remaster, and tell me if Days Gone is interesting for a remaster. It's personally not for me, but who knows? It might be for someone else. I hope you all have a good night. I hope I cleared up exactly why I have problems with remasters. And again, no shade to the commenters. I wanted to pull some comments that really spoke to me, because I read through all the comments. I'm not trying to start drama, and I'm not trying to attack anyone. But there's arguments to be made about my opinion. There's arguments to be made about any opinion out there. Let's try to have a civil discussion down in the comment section. Let's all unite as gamers and try to make sure that Sony sticks around for a long time, because I don't want to see the death of consoles. I like consoles, but I don't feel like the direction the PS5 is going in is going to be good for us consumers. Anyways, I hope you all have a good night. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.